But if there's anything to note, he's number 2 seed, Greg is the 3. Lee gets to play first, and that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and in most Legacy elimination rounds, I'm rooting for the person playing the biggest psychopathic deck. So it's Charbelcher 1. Charbelcher will always have my heart.
Yeah. That deck is good and crazy.
But Imperial Painter is not that far off.
So does Greg have... Greg got Magus of the Moon. He's going to play an Ancient Tomb. He's going to go down to 18 here to start things off. You see Lee's hand right now. Does not have a Spell Pierce. Here's a Painter's Servant. And that's going to resolve, and then it's going to bite the dust with Sword. So, bye-bye.
So for those of you a little bit newer to Legacy, the way that this combo deck works is you play Painter's Servant, set it to blue, you play Grindstone, and mill someone's entire deck over. Yeah. Additionally, when you set your Painter's Servant to blue, suddenly all of your main deck Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast become very good deals. They can be 1-mana Stone Rains or 1-mana counter spells and so forth. Also, because many decks in Legacy are blue, it's just sweet to have a lot of red blasts against a lot of your different opponents.
I agree. You see Stone Mystic's going to be placed on the stack here. This will resolve. He gets to search now, so a little unnecessary shuffling, as I'm sure they both realized. But here comes a Batterskull or a Jite, and it will be Batterskull that does come here for Lee. We'll see if he's able to get that in play, because if he does get that in play, he'll actually probably be able to win the game. But I've got a feeling we're going to see a Blood Moon-esque effect show up here for Greg.
And I believe that is just a lock in the spot.
Throw away the key. So, Greg, you drew a
and again,
Grindstone.
Deck lists are public.
He has a Mountain and a Magus of the Moon. So I'd start with the Mountain. And he's going to play a Magus of the Moon. Lee says, yep.
Oh, that's a real crackerjack.
That resolves. So Lee will draw and play a Scrubland Mountain. This is where it gets good. This is where it gets to be fun. See a Simian Spirit Guide off the top here for Greg.
I mean, my understanding of things is Greg can win the game from here simply by beating Lee to death with the Magus of the Moon.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. He's going to put Sensei's Divine Top on the stack here. That's going to resolve. Greg's probably going to play super cautiously here, just not attack with anything. But yeah, there's nothing I believe that Lee can actually do to get out of this.
Well, he can't play his equipment. His equipment is still there.
Oh yeah. Oh, sure. Because I've actually seen. Oh my goodness, you're right about that. Because I've actually seen this happen. Owen Turtenwald was Blood Moon locked at the Grand Prix Washington D.C. that he won, and he actually just ran perfectly, was able to hardcast the Blood Moon, and his opponent just didn't do anything. So yeah, it can happen. It can happen.
Here's the thing: is Greg has the ability now to set up. He can use Imperial Recruiter to go get a Painter Servant, and that should shut the door, because now he can set all permanents to blue. His Red Blast and Pyroblast become 1-mana Vindicates or 1-mana counterspells, and he can just kill the Batterskull that way.
Okay.
So it wasn't quite a lock, but it was
pretty close.
Pretty close. And now I think probably the last door has been shut. And that's also assuming that Lee doesn't just get killed by the combo here, as now Grindstone kills him.
Yeah, because he does have Grindstone in his hand, so... There's the hardcast Batterskull, and Lee will pass the turn back. Greg will untap here. He'll be taking a draw here shortly, see if he wants to spin top or not. He does not, so he just draws a Blood Moon. And we'll see what route he wants to go. I think he's going to go the Painter Servants to start. He'll make everything blue, we presume. And now, there is the Red Blast targeting the Batterskull. Get that thing out of here. I think the only other card that Lee can draw in this situation is Jite.
Yes, that is the last card with text in his deck besides Force of Will.
As there's Polluted Delta, pass the turn back over to Greg. Greg will take a draw into Lightning Bolt. He can gun that Stoneforge Mystic if he wants to. He's going to go with Grindstone instead.
That's fine also.
Yeah, that's a thing that you can do. Remove Simian Spirit Guide, activate the Grindstone. All your stuff is blue. And he's going to concede the game. Greg Smith, Blood Moon's going to get it done. Yeah,
Just dust your hands off.
No muss, no fuss. This is a great top 8 for him. This could be our champion. He wins game number 1. And as those players go to the sideboard, we're going to bring it back here into the booth, because it is trivia time yet again here in St. Louis. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan, You're going to fire away the question. This one's for 6 months. Get your Twitters ready. Hashtag SCG Premium for your answer. Make sure you're following at SCG Live because you need to know the answer to this question.
So this one's actually a little on the tricky side. Okay. I'll make you work for this a little bit.
Okay.
There's various single targets in the Imperial Painter deck to go get with Imperial Recruiter. So you have a bunch of utility creatures.
Got it.
One of them, a singleton, is a 1-mana red creature. Can you name it? It's more known for its presence in Vintage, I would say, than in Legacy.
I know it. I didn't even look through the deck list. I got it.
But name that 1-mana creature.
If you can name that 1-mana creature, hashtag your answer, SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. And it's about accuracy, not speed, because we're going to announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. Fortunately for you, getting the guess out there, I think this match is going to be quick, but the next one will be a little bit longer.
Well, we can go to the sideboards here. I mean, our Esper player might be able to improve a little bit post-board.
All right, well, you've got that one in front of you, so fire away.
We have a Vidilian Click, a Notion Thief, a Zealous Persecution, 2 Supreme Verdicts, a Flusterstorm, 2 Aethersworn Canonist, a Pithing Needle, a Detention Sphere, 2 Meddling Mages, 3 Rest in Peace. Actually, not a lot of love here. I do like Meddling Mage in this matchup, as it's pretty good at naming some critical pieces. Of course, Greg's deck is flushed with Red Blast, so it's only so far that can go.
Yeah.
You have access to a Pithing Needle, which you can use to name Grindstone, although again, the Grindstone is only one of many problems that is presented to Lee in this matchup. Maybe he wants Vendilion Click. Again, it's just another form of pressure and disruption, but not really a lot going on here.
Take a look at Greg's sideboard on the screen. 3 Ensnaring Bridge, 4 copies of Thorn and Amethyst, 3 Tormod's Crypts, and a couple singletons in the Phyrexian Revoker, Magus of the Moon, a Viashino Heretic, a Pyroblast, and a Red Elemental Blast. I love Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast during this matchup. It's just more hard counters.
Yeah, I like the additional Magus. I also really like Phyrexian Revoker and Viashino Heretic, as the biggest concern that Greg has in this matchup is equipment. So the Heretic is just a permanent solution to equipment in the event that it hits play. And Phyrexian Revoker can also name Stoneforge Mystic or Planeswalkers as well.
Now, the Heretic, I believe, is a card from Urza's Legacy.
Yeah, it's an uncommon. I believe it's a 1/2 for Red Nicholas, where you can tap it and 3 and shatter something and shoot someone equal to casting cost.
You still got
2 mana.
Oh, okay,
2 mana.
okay.
And it's 3 mana to cast.
Okay, I was gonna say you still got it.
Yeah.
Summon. That's my favorite part of this is easily summon Viashino.
Yeah.
Yeah, kicking it old school.
Summon Dragon Person.
Yeah.
Engineer. Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that guy is. Summon enemy from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 is what that does. That is a nice bullet card for him to be able to search up, though.
Yeah.
I like that with Imperial Recruiter. So we'll see. We'll see if he does bring that in. At the end of the day, here Lee is going to need to find a Spell Piercer or a Force Wheel or something to stop these Blood Moons from firing down, and that's only step 1. That's the big part, because if Blood Moons don't come raining down, the combo will.
And I also think there would be an argument for bringing in Ensnaring Bridge in this matchup in a lot of cases, even though it's not the type of deck you would think of. It's just another thing where Lee can't operate once it's in play. Also, one of his best disruptive measures is Umezawa's Jitte, which Ensnaring Bridge can shut down. But the fact that Lee can win the game simply with Jace the Mind Sculptor means that I think Greg should leave it in the sideboard.
Okay. Well, you see both players are going to take a look at their hands here. Lee Prost is going to be on the play. And as we do get updates for our other match, we'll of course let you guys know exactly what's going on over there. Not sure if anyone's mulliganing, though. Looks like they might be happy. Lee's got the one with the big decisions to make first, though.
Yeah. He's got a pretty land-heavy hand here, but it looks like it's possibly a pretty powerful opening. It looks like Deathrite Shaman, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Vindicate. I don't know the extent to which he has fetch lands to facilitate this Deathrite Shaman, but turn 2 Vindicate, turn 3 Jace is about as good of an opening as you can ask for.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got Flood's trying to work with here, so. And just so that you guys know, the other matchup there is still in game 1, so it looks like we're going to have plenty of time to cut over that way, depending on what happens here, as Greg Smith did win game 1 very, very quickly. Lee looks like he's going to keep. How about Greg? Greg's going to keep as well. Flooded Strand, here we go.
There's a couple, I've seen various Imperial Painter lists. Some of them are very extreme. They're all tutor targets and engine. Greg is a little bit normalized here with 3 copies of Lightning Bolt in his deck. It's funny to think of that as a card that would be questionable in the mono red deck in Legacy, but this deck's kind of up to something different. But the 3 bolts help a lot in this matchup, as it gives him really efficient, easy answers to Stoneforge Mystic and Deathrite Shaman.
There is the Deathrite Shaman coming onto the table here, and as you mentioned, it's a really nice start for Lee in the fact that he can play that, then go into Vindicate mode. As you see Greg here with a Spell Skite in his hand, His start is not too great. He's got a bunch of Blood Moon effects, and he's got that Red Blast.
Well, he does have turn 2. This is a turn 2 Blood Moon opening again.
Now, one thing you could do, if Vindicate isn't, because he has a City of Traders in his hand, but I don't know if Vindicate's on his radar, because he could play City of Traders and Spellskite, and then what he does, is it on his radar? Okay.
This is not this man's first rodeo.
It is not at all, because it would have been so easy just to play Mountain there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And he says, you know what? I don't think so. I'm going to play my Spellskite to stop your one of Vindicate that I know you have in your deck list since I've seen it.
And this just goes to show the extent to which it's incredible to resolve a Blood Moon, that Greg is willing to go through these kind of contortions to resolve an early Blood Moon.
And now Lee's like, oh, I can't cast my Vindicate because you'll just redirect it. So Greg says, how about a Mountain? Add 2. Play this Mountain. And the Fun Police is here in Magus of the Moon.
Now, Lee gets a couple shots at colored mana, in fairness, because of his Deathrite Shaman for the time being. There's 2 lands in the graveyard, but this is a tough row to hoe, as they say.
I even had Jace, too. It's tough. Because Jace can basically win the game by itself. I guess, there are Red Blasts obviously hanging around, but really, there's a Pyroblast off the top. Greg will pass the turn back. Sitting comfortably.
Although this is a game that Greg could easily lose to just a hard cast Batterskull.
Yeah. With how his hand has lined up, that can definitely happen. You see Blood Moon the draw here. Probably want to get a second Moon effect down. That's what he's going to do. And I think he's got free reign to attack with Magus of the Moon if he'd like to. And that's what he's going to do here now, too.
Yeah, I like playing the second one as insurance, as again, Lee is not completely locked out of the game at this point, as he still has his Deathrite Shaman.
And part of the reason he didn't attack because Lee had access to, as you said, with Deathrite Shaman, he could have played a Snapcaster Mage off of that. As Lee draws a Force of Will for the turn.
Yeah.
Greg, cautious, but in a good way.
No, this is actually great to watch, because these decks have this reputation in part because of a lot of the pilots that gravitate towards these decks of just being like maniacs play these decks, or that they're here to just either win or lose really quickly.
Yeah.
And Greg is showing a lot of expertise.
Looks like Snapcaster Mage is going to show up. There that is. Am I allowed to trade?
I would have to imagine that this is worth a Red Blast.
I wouldn't be too surprised. You see Lee's got a Force Bolt already too, so we might have a bit of a fight here. Depends on if Greg wants to pick this fight. I think Greg says sure. And he's willing just to trade here.
I think that he wants to keep these Red Blasts as insurance for his Painter Servant that's now entering play.
I would agree.
He may want to use,
And here's another Magus. So he can just get the beatdowns against her that way. That's perfectly fine.
I guess he's just looking to have 2 Blood Moon effects in play at all times.
Yeah, just
and then he
make
can
sure
just
nothing
do
goes wrong.
There.
Yep. So here's Force of Will. I could see him blasting this.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's going to use Pyroblast on that. Such a creative deck, Imperial Painter.
Yeah, but watching someone who is clearly an expert play one of the fringe decks in Legacy is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Kurt Spies in Baltimore playing Lance was the same deal.
Yeah. Now here's Stoneforge Mystic. That's the last activation you're going to Deathrite Shaman, we presume. So now, let's see if it's going to get Batterskull, if it's going to go get Jite. I know he has Sword of Fire Knights in his deck too. All of them are good.
But we do know that Greg has both a Painter Servant and another Red Blast left over in his hand.
Yep. Also, the fact that Spellskite's an 0-4 right now is brutal. Because if you get Sword and Fire Knights, those creatures can't get through. So I think he's forced to get a Batterskull as a result.
Just hope for the best.
Yeah. That's what I think he's going to go grab here. He's considering Sword, but again, Spellskite playing just the ultimate role of roadblock here and protecting my moon effects.
Yeah, it is really compelling the extent to which Spellskite shuts down the other equipment options.
Yeah.
As Jite is not effective against it, and neither is the Sword.
So, we do see Sword is what Lee is going to go grab, and now he's going to hardcast the Sword. So that's going to be in play. If there's obviously this awkward reaction because Greg is incentivized to name blue with Painter Servant, and so as a result, his the fact that Sword gives everything protection from blue is quite powerful. But I don't know if it's actually going to end up playing that way. Just see Imperial Recruiter was the draw here for Greg.
Yeah, again, Greg is in no rush right now, as he has Red Blast as insurance, and he can simply leave the Spell Scout on D and use the Imperial Recruiter he just drew to develop his board in another direction.
There's an attack for 2. Here is the Painter's Servant. Will name blue for everything. Probably going to fire away. Yep, get that sword out of here. And now Lee is drawing to basically 2 cards, Jite and Batterskull. Draws a Wasteland Mountain. Pass the turn back. Smith will go to his turn. He takes a draw. It is a Goblin Welder. He's going to play Imperial Recruiter, as we're being told. Rug Delver up a game right now. Hayden does win game number 1 over Jacob Ball. So we're going to go searching. Going to go a little bit deeper here through the deck.
Definitely has his mind on a particular target.
Yeah, Jaya.
Oh, boy.
Good tutor target for this deck. We'll take a look, of course. It can basically be like a walking Vindicate now at this point. And that's a card that's just going to allow him to close all the windows. Here you see the Task Mage. Discard a card, destroy target blue permanent. Conveniently all blue because of Painter's Servant. Discard a card, incinerate something. That could be your face. And then 7 damage, discard a card, deal 6 damage to each creature and each player. That's just when Jaya's just had enough and just kills herself and everything.
Yeah.
So take a draw here. There is the Ancient Tomb. Jaya gets placed onto the stack. Jaya looks like it's going to resolve. Pass the turn back, and this is where it gets ugly.
Oh, it's been ugly for a while, I feel like.
Touche. Touche. Greg will draw a card. Draws a Blood Moon. Doesn't need that one, though. You can really see when this deck has a specific matchup that's good against, as you see Jaya's going to take care of the Deathrite Shaman. It's very difficult to beat. It preys on certain decks, and it's funny because there are some decks where this deck can't beat anything.
Yeah.
You know, like Storm, for example. It seems like it has an absolutely atrocious matchup against that kind of strategy.
Yeah, you see a bunch of Thorn of Amethyst in his sideboard. It's clearly a concession to that matchup.
Yeah.
And so you see Greg there take care of the Deathrite Shaman last turn. This gives him the luxury of starting to go after lands and totally lock Lee out, as again, only Umezawa's Jite and Batterskull are meaningful draws.
So Jaya takes care of the Stoneforge Mystic. We're coming into the red zone here for 4. Smith's going to go down, Prost's going to go down to 8. Smith's going to add to his board here, I think, another Moon effect. Or he's actually going to go with Imperial Recruiter, so another Knucklehead. We'll see which one he gets this go around. Go for Phyrexian Revoker.
Sure.
Could be Grizzly Bear.
Yeah.
Could be Walking Corpse. I do that for you.
Thanks.
That's because I care. Lee will pass the turn back. Greg's going to untap here. How much damage do you have on the board right now? He's got 2, 3, 4, 5, and if he uses Jaya's Incinerate ability, that makes it 8. So should be lethal this turn, I believe, as he's going to attack here for 2, 3, 4, 5, and incinerate you, and that's going to do it. Greg Smith is moving on to the finals here. Imperial Painter wins this match 2-0. Louis Prost had a fantastic tournament, but this is the definition of a bad matchup.
Yeah, and we saw 2 very explosive openings from Greg in that match, but Greg was quite judicious with the way that he sequenced his spells and utilized his resources. Again, he wasn't just throwing caution to the wind and trying to run everything out as fast as he possibly could. He took his time. He was conservative. Even that turn 1 City of Traders into Spell Scout, successfully playing around Vindicate, which Lee actually had in his hand. There's only 1 Vindicate in the list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that sort of discipline is really impressive.
Yeah, he can afford to play around it. We're looking at a wildly different game there. If Greg just plays a mountain and says go, doesn't play Spell Scout, we see Lee go Vindicate your mountain, and then the next turn, play Jace. And Jace is a very realistic way for him to pull ahead.
Yes.
Certainly not to win the game because there are Red Blast and Pyroblast looming, but to generate an advantage to pull ahead, maybe find a counter spell for the first Blood Moon, be able to put some more stuff into play.